You approached me today and said that you wanted to record a podcast. Tell me a little bit about this vision you have.
Yeah. The main reason is God gave me this vision for business like 10 years ago
Yeah.
and a mission, and I didn't do it. And I have felt this thing in my soul, like these blessings I've missed and where we could have been positioned right now. And in Christian beliefs, the Holy Spirit gets quiet when we don't listen. He's a gentleman, he doesn't push his way on us. And the Holy Spirit got real quiet for a while. And just recently I got these God nudges to bring certain thing to the world, and it's gotten louder and louder and louder, and I'm just like, I have to do this. And so when we met, I was like, this is perfect, it's divine, let's make this happen and launch this thing out.
Absolutely. I love that you just take the inspired action. You shared with me that, it's come up a few times. There's that story of, first he sends a feather, and if you
Yeah,
don't answer the feather, he'll send a brick. If he
yeah,
doesn't answer the brick, he'll send a bus. And so I think you're taking action before the bus comes down the road.
yeah. And the last one, I missed the bus.
Mm,
And
right.
I think it was a bus full of awesome stuff, but more than that, I think it's also where I am right now in my career and in my business. um so we're at an event right now, and there's a room for 175 people. Some of them are kicking ass, some of them are brand new, some of them are struggling. By and large, though, most people in that room that aren't kicking ass, like newer people, they don't know what it really takes to get out there and make a difference.
Hmm.
And they don't know that it's really the personal growth portion, the intangible, that makes all the difference. And so my why is to help people go out there and live their God-given mission. And if we don't spread this, we're going to have a lot of people who could have been helped that aren't getting help.
So you say they don't know what it takes to do the work they want to do. And you're saying it's personal development?
So get to the promised land. What are we talking about? Why do we name this podcast that? The way I picture it is our prospect is here and life's not working. They're unhappy. It's just not great. And then there's like this rushing river. And then over here is our client after they worked with us. We were the perfect coach. We delivered the perfect messaging. They were the perfect client. And we take them to the promised land, whatever our personal promised land is. So my promised land for my people is they become a world-class speaker. They make a massive impact, raving fans, Russia clients. They have a ton of people they're helping. They're making a lot of money. They're giving a ton of money to charity. They're known, and they feel like they're living their God-given mission. That's my promised land. Someone else's promised land might be they help people get super healthy. Someone else's promised land, like yours, you take people to being known and their business is growing. Do you have a why for your business?
Sure do.
What
Yeah.
is it?
I want to make the world a lighter place by broadcasting people that have a mission that's heart centered to make the world a better place. So increasing the frequency of love in the world by broadcasting all these heart centered entrepreneurs through podcasting.
Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah. And so we're very aligned too, right? Which is why we're working together, which is a side note, like sharing your why is so critical. So you have a promised land to take them to. And the way I see it is to get people through a coaching company there, you've got to be able to reach people, let them know you exist, sell them into your program, get them to say yes. And then once they say yes, you got to get them across this rushing river. And your coaching program is the stepping stones or the islands or the bridge over the river to get them there. And so you've got to do the marketing, get them in, you got to sell them in, you got to have a great coaching program. The most important part, though, is you have to be the leader they're follow and have the personal growth in you so that you can show up great, but also have the personal growth skills so that they'll follow you and you can coach them through their fears. So, do you know the Bible at all?
I don't.
All right. So, have you heard the story of like when the tribe of Israel was going to the promised land?
Tell me.
So they were slaves in Egypt, and that's when if you heard these about like God sent all these plagues, and finally Egypt was like go, and that's when Moses parted the Red Sea. If you ever heard those stories, the Israelites go through both. So the total journey from where they were to the promised land was a short journey, but they sent spies to go look into the promised land, and the spies saw all this stuff, and they came back and they said it's amazing, it's everything we heard, but it's filled with giants. There's no way we'll get in there. And these two spies were like, I could be quoting the story wrong. So if anyone's listening and it's wrong, forgive me, but this is basically the gist of it. And the point of it is what's important. These two spies were like, no, we can take it. But the rest were chickens. They were scared. So instead of getting into the promised land in a matter of weeks or months, they had to wander in the desert for 40 years. And they had to wander long enough for the people filled with fear to die off
Hmm.
and to learn to become totally dependent on God, and to learn to say yes and to learn to follow his leading so that when they came back to the promised land after 40 years, they went in and they took over.
Gotcha.
And all the spies who chickened out never got to see it, but those two spies were like, we could do this. They actually got to see the promised land. And so for coaches, I think it's a huge leap of faith, and we have to be able to move through our fear, because as we're going to step up and make a difference in the world, resistance is going to happen, whatever you believe that to be. And then I believe there's an enemy. And when we're working for the force of good, we're just one letter off. We're working for the force of God. And there's an enemy that doesn't want us to do good, because whatever you're talking about spreading love, the enemy doesn't want love to be spread. Talking about people get healthy, the enemy wants to steal, kill, and destroy. Well, we're sent to make the world a better place, so that people may have life and have it to abundant. So when you're working for the force of good, fear's going to come against homeostasis. Just, if you've never made 100,000 in a day or $1 million in a weekend, if you haven't done the internal work, you're going to sabotage it. Like people win the lottery and then they crash back down. I'm giving you a really long answer for a short question. So,
And it's interesting that, you say the 40-year journey. I've always heard that, but didn't fully understand it until now. So thank you for that. But as somebody who didn't study the Bible, it's like it took me 40 years to discover the light in me to realize that's something that I have to share.
yeah.
It's, again, that 40-year journey to become, oh, okay, right. I do believe there is something for me to share. Let's get to that promised land now.
Yes. And, in a way that I had to go through that journey too. We all have to go through this journey where we discover that part of us. And I believe we're going to make a difference. We have to believe in something bigger. People don't have to believe in a Christian belief like I do, but something bigger than us.
Mhm.
But having said that, though, we don't have the time to go through the desert on all these different journeys.
Right.
You've done a journey that now you know how to get people out there and share their message. I've done a journey where I know how to help people get on stage and share their message. Other people have done a journey for health or money or wealth or whatever it is, or sex or great relationships. We don't have the time to make all these journeys, and who knows if we'll even ever navigate it successfully. Because for all of us that have got to a place of expertise, I think there was some faith, and I also think there was some serendipity and just like magical moments that pulled us through. We met the right person at the right time. We went to the right seminar at the right time. We heard the right word at the right time. And there's no guarantee everybody will have that right moment or that serendipity. And so we've gone through hell so that we can shorten other people's path and get them over that rushing water and get them to the promised land faster.
And I mean, you're speaking to people that want to serve and support others.
Mhm.
And I firmly believe that you can only attract the clients that are at the level you're at or below. So if you want to up-level your game of who you're serving and supporting, you got to up-level yourself in what you're offering.
Yes.
Yeah. So upskilling to be able to serve and support more people is part of that journey that you're supporting them with. Those are the stones in the river to cross to the promised land.
So the way I think about the stones is so the river's here and the prospects here, clients here. When we have a coaching program, we put it together. I believe every coaching program needs 3 big contextual areas. First area is like beliefs, new thoughts. Second area is new actions. And that's called a how-to seminar.
Okay.
That's the world of the how-tos. And there's a ton of how-tos out there. And they're critical. How to make money, how to lose weight, how to find love. But they're not enough. Brian Clemmer wrote a book, If How-Tos Were Enough, We'd All Be Skinny, Rich, and Happy. Because they're not enough. Like if you look, there's millions of books on how to find love, millions of books on how to make money. Because something else is running the show. And the thing that's truly running the show is some people's subconscious programming. So the third island, and I call it stepping stones or islands, you can use it interchangeably. The third island in any great coaching program needs to be a breakthrough island. Because otherwise people will never use it. It's like, I've been looking for the perfect example for this and I haven't found it yet. But we could take someone. Have you ever driven a race car? Like at one of those courses we could drive a race car?
I am. It's on my list.
Is it?
Yeah.
So I went, right? When the guy's teaching me, he's like, do the gear, do the we're going fast. I was getting scared. So I was backing off way before that turn. And I'm not used to a race car being able to turn like that. So I'm not going as fast as I could because fear was coming up. So I had the beliefs. I knew what to do. I knew the actions to take. But my subconscious, the fear was coming up and it was causing me to back off. And I wasn't driving that car as fast as I could have.
Mm-hmm.
And so I believe that any coaching program, we've got to move people through fear. And the way homeostasis works is homeostasis status quo. It's like you set the thermostat on an air conditioning for 70 degrees and it maintains the house at 70 degrees. Whether it's cold outside or it's hot outside, it maintains 70 degrees. And people have a homeostasis set point for their life, whether it's how much they weigh or how much money they make or what their relationships are like. And typically the three big coaching areas are relationships, love, sex, health and fat loss, and money and career. And so when people have a set point for these, no matter how much how-tos you give them, it's never going to be enough if we don't get breakthrough. But if we get breakthrough and change people's internal set point, automatically everything else changes. So I think in these any coaching program, we've got to have breakthrough. And you don't have to do the breakthrough yourself. You could bring someone in, but you have to have it in you. So I was talking to Jennifer Deepstrand. Jennifer is she's here at this event, and she's a coach for doing high ticket sales, and she also brings in sales teams to events. And we were having lunch about a month ago, or dinner a couple months ago, and the model out there for a lot of people is they do a 3-day event, it's $97, or it's free. People come, and then they sell them into their 20K coaching program. And she was seeing guests at these events 6-7 weeks in a row. People going to all these freebie events. And I'm like, holy crap. I'm like, how are people doing with sales? And she said that it was the speakers who had the most personal growth and could facilitate the most personal growth that kept people engaged and made the most sales. And it really made sense to me. Like something I've known for years, a phrase is they come for the money, they stay for the head game. People will come for whatever the course is about. But if they get breakthroughs, they'll stick with you forever.
I want to get into the vision you have. So you put the Promised Land podcast out there. It starts to attract the people that are needing this transformation in their life. They want to get to that next step. They see the need for the breakthrough. They understand it. What happens when they come to your show and they're like, this is the piece I need. Where does it take them? What does it do for the world?
So if anyone's welcome to listen, I think our ideal client, our ideal person for this is someone who's a coach or they want to be a coach and they have a tribe that they want to lead to the Promised Land. And so we want to equip them to, like that first step to reach people. I think the number one fastest way to grow your business is public speaking. So my main business is called World Class Speaker Academy. We teach people how to be world-class speakers, make a massive impact, raving fans, rush new clients every time they speak. Really what we do there is we focus on their 1-hour presentation, like how to deliver a great 1 hour so that when you're done, people are signing up for your stuff, whatever your stuff is. By the way, talk about an example of islands. With the World Class Speaker Academy, to write your 1-hour presentation, there's 3 islands. It's compelling content. It's what you say that makes the audience go, oh yeah, I want to work with this person. So that's content. If the content's on point, but you're boring, no one's going to listen. So the content is the first step. Dynamic delivery is the second island. And what we say, it's like putting on a show and you got to touch the heart. I went to this dance troupe and I'd seen their ads for years and we went and it was technically beautiful and it was, but I didn't laugh or cry once. I wasn't emotionally touched once. It was a $120 ticket. Like I'll never spend that money on that show again. So for delivery, the question is, did you touch their heart? And the more you get people laughing and the more you get people inspired or their heart or their tears, a lump in their throat, thump in their chest, the more sales you're going to make, the more lives are going to change. So content delivery, the most important to you though, because I'll never forget, I was doing an event and typically we would close 15% of the room. And it was the biggest event we ever did. And I was talking about how you have to reprogram yourself internally to be ready to make a lot of money as a speaker. Otherwise, you'll subconsciously sabotage. And someone asked a question in the chat, and I thought they were asking about my current financial position. They were asking, had I done the work on myself for that event? Because that could have been $1 million event. 3-day event. And typically we would close 15% of the room. If we just did 15% of the room, that should have easily been $1 million event. I did 5% of the room. And looking back on it later, I hadn't done the internal work to get, I'm $1 million in a weekend guy. And the internal work to go, I'm okay with this many new people coming in at once. We can handle it. We'll take really great care of them. So sabotage, resistance, whatever it is, all I know is we only did 5% of the room. It was our lowest sales ever.
So when you say, had you done the internal work, what would that internal work have been to overcome those things?
Yeah. The internal work, so there's a lot of different ways to do it, right? But the internal work could be to have a conversation with, I work with different coaches. I'll be like, oh, could have been, are you ready to make $1 million? Oh yeah. And then no. And then they'll dig deeper into my subconscious to see what was off and remove that. Maybe it was dad saying you're not worth it. Or maybe it is like a fear I have had recently, we're starting to grow again, is how do we make sure that we take really good care of everybody that comes in? Because if we had 200 or 300 people join in one weekend, could we take that good of care of them? And I'm not sure we could right now. We're building, we're growing. So there's a part of me that would probably sabotage having 200 or 300 people come in. 50 to 100, absolutely, we could take great care of them. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Now, what's the difference in taking care of 50 or 100 people and 200 to 300 people? It's probably not a lot. It's probably, you have 300 people come in, you can hire a lot more help. You just do more events. It's probably really doable. It's more an unconscious, subconscious hiccup that's going, danger. It's more a matter of being out of comfort zone. So I started talking about comfort zone earlier. Our comfort zone is really a misnomer. For most people, their comfort zone is really like a low grade suck. It's our known zone. It's what we know is really what it is. I know what it's like to have X amount of people, and having 300 new people at once is way outside of my known zone. And so my subconscious will automatically kind of back off a bit. Does that make sense?
That is the thermostat taking itself back to where it was
Yes.
preset.
Yes.
Because you haven't leveled up to be comfortable up here.
Yes. So that's okay. I got to do that internal work. And what I find is most people go, I got to find the solution. You find the solution here and then the solution out there. Oh, I know this speaker trainer. I know that speaker trainer. I know how we can run multiple events. Oh yeah, this guy's been looking for work. Oh yeah, this guy is one of my mentors. I can just pay him 10 or 15,000 bucks to come in and facilitate for me. Like the external always is easy when the internal has a shift. So go back to this. I've been doing a ton of personal growth in the last 3 to 4 months, preparing for what's next. So Betsy, my wife, and I, we had our son in May, Jase Jr., who I love. And, that's been a shift in getting a new equilibrium. And we want to grow. We want to impact more people. And like God's really put on my heart with this podcast. And so with the speaker training, and you're asking or this question started is like, what happens when they come? Well, one is the speaker training. Two, we want to take and make this personal growth training that I developed available to everybody. This is really my heart passion project. And so down the road, I think we'll be doing seminars around the country. We'll be traveling and doing those. For now, we're just going to share this message and just put it out for free for people.
All right, Jase. To the Promised Land podcast. What is the essence? What is happening? What is the journey? Tell us.
So we're going to talk about how do you reach your tribe? How do you inspire them to follow you? In other words, how do you sell? Make a ton of sales. How do you get them across the river? Right? And then how do you get them to that promised land? So what are we going to do? I'm going to share my journey. I'm going to share what we've done our business that's successful. What I'm really stoked about too, though, is we have some guests lined up who are masters in marketing, masters in digital marketing, masters in I know how to speak, funnels and all that stuff. I am not a master, but I'm in masterminds with masters. People who know how to run big events. And then we're going to talk about the personal growth you need to build that leader that you need to be to get people across. One of the journeys I'm going to share is my personal health journey. What's that phrase about gained and lost the same 20 pounds 20 times or something? I have done that for sure. And I know that the healthier I get physically, the more energy I have, the more compelling I am, the more certain I am, the more I look better on stage. And the more when I lead my events, I have the energy and I can hold space for people that break through. So I'm going to be sharing about my personal physical journey. Like that's one of my big challenges to go through. I'll be sharing behind the scenes on how we grow our business and what we do. And then we're going to be bringing in personal growth experts, people who know how to move that tribe. And then we're going to be bringing in people who are experts on setting up coaching programs, gamifying coaching programs, just really everything a coach needs to make a massive impact and to make a ton of money. And I think the ideal person to listen to this podcast, there's someone who wants to help a lot of people and they want to make a lot of money. And they have to be both. Because I worked with people who are like, I've kind of worked with people who say, oh, I just want to help people. I don't care about the money. They never help anybody because they don't have the money to market. They don't have the money to pay for stages. They don't have the money to get the message out there. And so they wind up not helping anybody. And I have worked in the past with people who are just all about the money. And like the old ego-filled speakers with the shiny suit, the shiny belt, the shiny shoes, the shiny hair, big Rolex, those days are done. Nobody gives a crap about that. What we need today is people who want to do both, because when we charge more, people get more. And when we make really good money, we can pay for more marketing. It costs money to make a podcast. We can pay for a podcast. We can pay for more seats. Like I pay where we are here at this event. I paid to get on stage to speak. It was a marketing investment, and I'm going to get clients to come out of that. So we want people who want to do both. Plus, as you make more money, you have more money to fund the things that are important to you. So, I want to take great care of my kid. I want to take great care of my wife. Also, we do a thing where we support a place called City of Refuge Ministries in Ghana. This couple literally got on their heart to save kids from being child slaves, and they built a school where the kids can live. They go save. The kids are like slaves of these fishermen. The fishermen go to coastal villages and, hey, let me have your kid. I'll have him work my boat. Then I'll put him through school. It's all BS. They just keep them as slaves. So they go and talk to the fishermen. They convince him to give up the kid. They convince him not to get another kid. But they don't give the kid back to mom on the coast. She'll just resell the kid. Instead, they keep the kid at the school. And now they have kids that are aging out of school, and they're putting them through university. And it's so cool. And it's like, if I have the numbers right, it's $600 a year to put a kid through school, and like $1,000 or $1,500 a year to put them through university. And so we're helping them raise money to do this. In the last year, we helped them build a grain mill. We helped them buy a school bus. I've done a lot of cool stuff in my business, but buying a school bus, hands down, the coolest thing I've ever done. And it's kind of embarrassing. They actually put a plaque on the grain mill saying, "Thanks, World Class Speaker Academy." They put a big bumper sticker on the bus. Actually, I don't know if they just superimposed it in the photo they sent me or if they actually did it. But anyway, we didn't want attention. The reason I'm sharing it, though, is because, God says, don't let the left hand know what the right one's doing. In other words, don't go bragging about yourself. And I want people to know what's available now. When your business rocks out, you have more money to give to the political action committees you want to give to. When your business rocks out, you have more money for the charities you want to support. When your business rocks it out, you have more money to shape culture. And I'll finish with this, and I'm sure I can go on. But it's the 3 I's. It's influence, it's impact, influence, and income. And the model is, the more you impact people's lives through your speaking, through your coaching, and ideally you begin with a huge give, help people get better through your presentation, you impact them, they're going to spend more money with you. That's income. And the more you impact people's lives, and then the more they join your program and spend money with you, the more influence you have with them. And then it grows geometrically. The more people you impact, the more income you have, the more influence you have in society, and the more influence you have in society, it gets to a point where you have so many awesome people in your coaching program that they tell their friends and family about it. And then you have more people joining your program that you don't even have to sell in. It's almost like order taking, and it just grows and grows and grows. So I want to help people. I want to help really good people who really care and feel a connection with something about it, who feel like, I have this thing in my heart I was born to do. I was made to do. Like our ideal client, when they're not living it, they feel like they're letting down their higher power. Whether or not you can ever actually let down your higher power, I don't know. But they feel that stirring in their soul. And they want to hear, when they die, they want to hear God say, "Good, well done, my good and faithful servant." And for them, their business is their mission field. Their business is where they make a difference. Their business is where they touch and change lives. And it's not like some pastor, some nonprofit has to do it. They do it through their business. So we want those people who want to make a difference, and they want to make a lot of money, and they want to help change the world, and just do some kick-ass stuff along the way.
Thanks for joining me today on To the Promised Land podcast. If you're ready to grow your impact, master your message, and become the kind of speaker people can't ignore, head on over to our website, to thepromisedlandpodcast.com. That's where the real transformation begins. The links are all in the description.